Hey, y'all. Y'all, tonight we talking about something serious. We gonna be talking about no means no and why boundaries are important, because the stuff that I have been seeing lately on social media, the stuff that my friends and family have been letting me know they've experienced, stuff that I've experienced, I think it's important to bring awareness. Now, usually I talk to the men and the women, but tonight I'm going to be talking to the ladies. And guys, if you have anything that you want to say, you're welcome to still comment. But tonight I'm talking to my ladies for sure, because I'm a woman. So I can only speak for women. I know that this kind of behavior that I'm going to be talking about tonight happens amongst men as well. But I want to make sure that the things I'm talking about tonight are for the women, so that I don't speak from a man's point of view. So tonight we are talking about boundaries. And we're talking about misogynistic behavior and attitudes. So basically behavior that is undesirable towards women, like aggressive behavior or disrespectful behavior, things of that nature. So I know this is not really a topic that some people feel comfortable talking about. So, if at any point in time you're triggered or you feel uncomfortable, honestly, jump off the live and rewatch it, or watch it when you feel like you're in a better space to do so. But I wanted to make sure that I did my part in bringing awareness, because like I said, it's something that people that I love and care about, including myself, have experienced. So I know what's happening, and I don't want anybody to be naive or ignorant to the fact that we have people in this world who prey on women. And I'm not looking at women as victims. I'm looking at women as individuals who are able to notice this stuff and move forward. And get away from people who exhibit these kind of behaviors and attitudes. So first, let's start with talking about boundaries. So a lot of us don't even set boundaries, right, for ourselves, for other people. But boundaries are important because boundaries tell others how to treat you, and they also tell you how to be treated by other people, what you're willing to tolerate and accept. So they're very important when it comes to this no means no topic, in a sense that if your boundary is no, whenever you say no, however you say no, wherever you say no, it means no. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So I want to talk about a couple different definitions that are important to this topic. So persistence. Persistence means making an effort to get to know a girl better. Well, in this case, we're talking about women. So persistence means making an effort to get to know a girl better, such as asking her out or trying to get to know her. And so it may be nice for you to be persistent when she likes you, right? But when she doesn't like you and she's let you know that she doesn't like you, or she's giving off indications that she's uncomfortable with you trying to pursue her, then it could be looked at as harassment or stalking. So stalking is continual behavior that makes the person being stalked uncomfortable or frightened. And this is similar to harassment, but specifically to stalking, can be following someone, monitoring them, showing up where they're at all the time and on purpose, and meeting a girl out, and she shows this interest, but then some sort of way you end up finding her on social media, and you begin following her and continuing to try to pursue her. that is stalkerish behavior. That's not cute. That's not persistent. That is not, oh, like, I'm just going to see how many times I can bother her until she says yes. That is harassment. That is stalking. That is weird. I know a lot of people refer to it as thirsty, but that's a whole nother topic, right? Because a lot of people say thirsty, and sometimes people ain't really being thirsty. But when you're behaving in these manners, and she's already let you know she's not interested, you are harassing her. It also includes continuing to make advances, not accepting no as an answer, and becoming aggressive. And also speaking inappropriately as this person walks by. Maybe y'all work together. Maybe y'all go to the same school. Y'all are in the same area, and she walks past and you whispering stuff to your friends or the people that you're around, or you're making comments about her as she's passing. Those things are inappropriate, and those things are harassment. And I'm speaking from a place of passion, because some of these things have happened to me, and they've happened to women that I know. I have an instance where, and this is just me being raw and personal with y'all, because I want women to know this and understand this can happen to any of us. And so I know there was an instance where I was in school with somebody, and so I had to deal with them. Like, we went to the same school, we worked together, I had to deal with them. And so it was hard for me not to be in the same area with them. It was hard for me not to be in close proximity with them. But this person was not taking no for an answer. And I remember I was dating at the time, and somebody that I was interested in came to visit me. And that person saw that this person came to visit me, and they made comments not only about the person that I was with, that they, mind you, did not know, and they made comments about me and what they said as we were walking past. And yeah, it made me upset. It made me so upset, because I felt like, what do I do in this situation? Like, some people look at it as like, oh no, ignore it. But like, we were around each other. And so it was hard for me to just be angry and not say anything, or to just kind of brush it off, because I knew that this person was harassing me. Because this wasn't the first time where they said something while I was passing, and I said, stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. It's not that hard. And they just would not take no for an answer. And so, like I said, yes, if the person likes you and you're being consistent in trying to pursue them, they're showing you that they like you. They told you that they like you. And mind you, you need to hear them say it as well, because you can assume, but this is not a good place to make assumptions. We know what assumptions can come across as, and they can come across as you just perceiving things in your own way. And that can be dangerous in a situation like this. So if that person has not told you directly that they like you, and acknowledge that you like them, and that they don't mind being pursued by you, leave them alone. Leave them alone, because otherwise it can be considered harassment. And so if she tells you she isn't interested, that means just that, and any further behavior is inappropriate. So that brings me to predatory behavior, which includes behaving as if a woman is playing hard to get and not accepting rejection, leading to committing acts of misconduct. So this can include sexual assault, taking pictures from the internet or of someone without consent for personal pleasure, physical or emotional abuse, and also manipulation, such as not being honest about who you are, not being honest about what you're seeking from this person, but you're you're basically wearing a mask, trying to come off a certain kind of way until you get what you want. And then after that, you like the spawn of Satan. So, a couple more things to be mindful of. Harassment is not understanding when to leave someone alone. So we spoke about that. And here's another thing. Even if somebody once told you that they like you and they want to deal with you, they have the right to change their mind. So just because somebody slept with you before doesn't mean they want to do it again. Just because somebody dated you before doesn't mean that they want to do it again. You do not own that person. You do not own the right to say, oh no, we've done it before. What's the issue now? That's inappropriate. It's inappropriate, and it can be viewed as harassment if you do not want to accept their rejection. And so I know these kind of things happen, right? Dealing with people who are harassing you or stalking you or are exhibiting predatory behavior, you can run across blame culture. And so what I mean by that is people will, and I don't want to be specific in what I've been seeing in the media lately, because these people have children, and I would never want their children or friends of their children to come across my video and feel like I contributed to slandering their parent or whatever the case may be. And so I'm just going to keep that general, but I will say we know some things that have been going on in the media, and people have been saying like, oh, this person should have known better. She should have known better. Or she knew what she was getting herself into. All these things, right? So that can lead to blame culture, because just because somebody understands that certain things can happen doesn't mean that they should expect for it to happen, right? Like that comes up in being naive. So being naive means showing a lack of experience, wisdom, or judgment, right? You may know something, which may cause you to not consider having a healthy amount of skepticism or common sense, or when a person does or should know about something but fails to act on the knowledge or fails to acquire the knowledge before acting, that's simply being naive, which is different than being ignorant. And being ignorant is lack of knowledge or information. If this person is unable to function in a given setting because of a lack of knowledge, right? And so I know that's a lot. So if you need to digest it, just go back and watch this video, because I will save it. But there's a difference between being ignorant and being naive. So ignorance is the first level. Like that's the milestone. That's you don't know anything about this, right? And then naive comes a step above that when you say, okay, now I do know certain things. Now I do know more than I knew when I was here, when I was ignorant, but there's some things that are hindering me from acting on the fact that I do know, right? There's some choices that I'm still not adhering to making because of X, Y, and Z, even though I know what I know now, right? And even in that, like, it shouldn't lead to blame culture, because just because you know better doesn't always mean you do better. And we know that each of us have made decisions in our lives where we have either been completely oblivious and just behaved in a certain way, moved along with a certain decision. But all of us have experienced a situation where we have known certain information and we still did not make the best decision for ourselves. So I think it's important to understand that being naive or ignorant never justifies someone being or becoming prey. And by prey, I'm meaning if you're being preyed upon, like somebody is attaching themselves to you because they know you have certain insecurities or certain struggles, that person is a predator. Anybody who, and let me give y'all a definition. A predator is a person that exploits others. Exploit means to use as a resource for benefit. So if you're using somebody to benefit yourself, you can be considered a predator. And I know like people typically look at like a predator as a rapist or somebody who commits sexual acts with somebody who's unwilling. But based on these definitions, that's not all a predator is, right? A predator can be somebody who's close to you. It doesn't have to be a stranger. And it doesn't have to be between somebody who is just simply older than you, or like there's different ways to be considered a predator. And I'm gonna give y'all a couple examples in a minute. And I want to give a disclaimer that I don't consider all men predators, and I do not consider all women prey. I understand that some of the things that happen to women also happen to men in this area. But when I started this live, I made it very clear, and I want to reiterate that I am speaking from a woman's perspective because I am a woman, and I cannot speak for a man's perspective in this because I'm not a man, never have been, never will be. And so it's important for me to speak from the perspective of a lady because I'm a lady. So I will give y'all examples of when I was in situations where I felt preyed upon. And so mind you, it's been a number of situations in my life and happening around me where I have seen this stuff. So this is not just something I'm making up. This is not just something I wanted to just come on here and talk about. It's real. And if I can use my platform and my influence to help a lady out there not be ignorant, and not have to be naive in these situations, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm doing here tonight. So I know this is not like a big, debate type thing like how we usually do, but my platform is here. And so I'm going to use it. And so going back to those examples. So I remember when I was younger and I was about 19 or 20. I know for sure I wasn't 21 because I was not old enough to drink. And so I had a situation. I was in a situation where I needed a place to stay. And so I was working somewhere and I met a guy that worked there as well. And he wasn't a stranger, right? Like I had worked with him. I had been around him. We had developed a relationship. I considered him somebody that I could trust. But we were never dating. I was never interested in him. None of that. So I genuinely looked at him as a friend. And so he came to me one day and he's like, hey, I know about your situation. I heard about your situation or whatever. And I have a place so you can stay at my place with my sister, me and my sister, for some time, until you get yourself together, you get back on your feet. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I get the stuff that I do have and I carry it on to him and his sister's place. And he never gave me any indications that he was attracted to me. And so living in his place, I felt comfortable for that amount of time, Well, initially, let me say that I initially felt comfortable, but he wanted to sleep in the same bed. And mind y'all, I'm young, right? Like I had never experienced anything like this. I mean, I didn't have I didn't have my first serious relationship until I was in 9th grade, and after that, I never had another. I never had another relationship prior to meeting this guy. So I was young and I was ignorant to a lot of things of the world, and I didn't see why, he wanted to sleep in the same bed as me. I thought we were just friends, sleeping in the same bed. Y'all, I never considered a man and a woman sleeping in the same bed. Maybe that's not a good idea, because I had never experienced being in a bed with a man. And so, I thought it was kind of odd, after maybe like the second night. And so I said something, I was like, I don't really feel comfortable with this, and I'm okay with sleeping on the couch. And he was like, no, you don't have to sleep on the couch. Like, it's fine. And I'm like, no. I want to sleep on the couch. And so he was like, well, we can take turns. So we took turns. Some nights he would sleep on the couch. Some nights I would sleep in the bed. It was back and forth like that. And it went on like that for a couple weeks. And mind y'all, I only stayed there for like less than a month. A little less than a month. And so I was standing there. He was helping me out, right, as far as like, I bought my own food and things like that. But he was helping me out as far as rides. So at the time I didn't have a car, and he drove me up to a place to get a job. And so I went and I met the people that he knew, and he was like, okay, yeah, like I know them, I can get you a job. So I ended up getting a job or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but wait, I need transportation, right? How am I going to get to and from work? And he was like, oh, like I'll pick you up or whatever. Like that's no issue. If I'm ever not able to come get you, then, I'll just let you know, and I'll let you know ahead of time so that you can, get an Uber. And so, I was like, okay, that's cool. That'll work. Right. And so not too long after, I'll say, maybe like 2 weeks after or something like that, he, started going to work talking. And I know that it's true because the people who told me he was talking, like, for sure, I trusted them. And so he was going to work telling people, she gonna have to go soon because she ain't giving me none. And if I want another woman to come over, and visit me, and she's here, then how is that gonna work? So, of course, people start calling me like, hey, girl, you need to figure out, like what you're going to do, where you're going to go next or whatever, because this is what he's saying. And so, literally, y'all, like, I heard that, and the next day, if not the same day, the next day, he came in the room and was like, you got to go. And I was like, why? And he was like, this ain't working no more. You just got to go. And I'm like, okay, so that's an example of predatory behavior, because you offered me a place to stay because you thought that I was about to be a live-in sex slave. And mind y'all, I was young. Me and him had at least a decade of age difference. And so him even considering wanting to sleep with me is weird, right? And especially without ever telling me, but telling other people that he wanted to be sleeping with me. That was the only way I was going to continue to be able to live in his house. That's predatory behavior. Even though I was willfully there in his space, he was preying on me in the sense that I was ignorant to some things. I never considered that I had to sleep with somebody to be living in their house. let me see, doing something to help but expecting something in return. Exactly. That's exactly what was going on. That's not the first time where, you know, I've come across a situation like that, or somebody that I know has come across a situation like that. And this stuff is real, y'all, like real. And that could have went further. Thank God I ended up having somewhere to go. But if I had stayed in that situation, I would have been compromised. I would have had to do something that I didn't want to do, all because this man was preying on me. And I was young and did not realize it. I also saw that a number of people that I know reached out to me telling me like, they've had guys at work, passing around their pictures, like showing their pictures off, throughout the workplace. That's harassment. That's weird. Like, you should not be doing that. Even if somebody puts their picture on social media, that does not give you the right to act as a third party to go around showing these pictures to other people like you get cool points or something like that. It's weird. It's inappropriate. And you should consider, you know, like when you exhibit these kind of behaviors, you should examine, yourself. And if it's happening to you, you should examine the situation and be cautious about how you move with this person being around you. Let me think. There's been other situations where I was dating a guy and I went to his house and, you know, we were just casually like watching movies and having a drink or whatever. And nowadays, a lot of people think that if you go to somebody's house, that you have to sleep with them, that the person should just expect that you're about to lay down with them. And I understand that happens, right? I'm not naive to the fact that, or ignorant to the fact that kind of behavior is accepted in some people's lives. And it's, you know, some people just assume, hey, if you coming over and it's nighttime and we having drinks and we Netflix and chilling, then it's going to lead from one place to another. But that's not the right kind of mindset to have, even if it is a norm in today's society. A lot of things are normal in today's society, and it's just straight up, it's just straight up poor behavior. So we don't have to accept that mindset. So I say that to say, I went to his house and we were chilling, and mind you, we never had a conversation beforehand about, you know, we were going to be intimate, that we were about to be in a relationship. All we knew was that I was attracted to him, he was attracted to me, and we were spending time getting to know each other. That's all we ever discussed. And so being at his house, I guess he assumed that I was going to sleep with him. And the conversation, I don't remember how the conversation started, but he was letting me know that like sex was important to him. And I said, well, I'm not interested in having sex. And he was like, And y'all, this man said, well, I can call you an Uber. And I was like, me? You gonna call me an Uber? Why? He was like, I mean, you don't want to have sex. And I'm like, I didn't realize my body was up for ransom. I didn't realize that my body was the secret password to coming in your place. We never talked about that. So I'm a bit confused. And he's like, you know, like, no, sex isn't everything. You know, I do like you, but like, it's important. And I was like, you're a creep. You're a predator. And you brought me over here and you're spending time with me because you thought that we were going to have sex. Mind y'all, we didn't know each other for even a month. So yeah, people can say like, oh, you were naive. Like, why would you even go to his house? If you weren't planning on sleeping with him or whatever. But I'm like, we do that. That's a part of getting to know people. You may go to their house. You may go out to dinner with them. Like, call it what you want. Call it naive. But at the end of the day, I accept responsibility now, knowing like, okay, there's people in the world who think like that. If you show up to their house, they're going to want to sleep with you. Be mindful of who house you go to. Be more cautious in that area. I take responsibility of that. I take accountability for that. Just as well as he has to take accountability that clearly he brought me over here just to have sex, which is predatory behavior, because the minute I said I wasn't interested in having sex, he wanted to call me an Uber in the middle of the night. So, there's people out here who are just waiting for you to, be naive or be ignorant and try to get in where they fit in. And I just want to bring awareness to this topic because it shouldn't be seen as normal behavior. If somebody has not said to you, I'm interested in doing XYZ with you right now, yes, this is okay, yes, we are on the same page, then you are out of order. Period. You are out of order. And you can say what you want. She should have knew X, Y, and Z. I should have knew X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, if we didn't have a conversation, how do we know that we knew? Anything else is an assumption. And I'm gonna tell y'all one more story. And if y'all have anything y'all want to say, y'all can let me know. And if not, then I'm just go ahead and leave it where it is and allow y'all to just reflect and, just save this so that anybody who needs it has it. So, last situation was going back to that story about the guy who was saying, I can pick you up and I can take you to and from work, without me having a car. And so in those instances where he could not pick me up, he was supposed to let me know that he couldn't pick me up in an ample amount of time for me to get an Uber, right? So obviously, because, he was upset with me for not sleeping with him. He did not let me know in a good amount of time that he wasn't gonna be able to pick me up. I'm like literally about to get off my shift in like 30 minutes. And I hit him up like, hey, I'm about to get off soon. And he's like, oh, I'm out for drinks. Can't come get you. Okay, you weren't gonna tell me? Rude, like you're showing your true colors. So anyway, I had to get an Uber. And this was the first time I ever took an Uber. I'd never been in an Uber, period. Like with friends, with family, alone, nothing. Completely ignorant to Uber. And like I said, I was young. So a lot of things that maybe my peers had experienced, I had not experienced yet. And so I figured out how to, get the Uber app and make arrangements so that I could get home, or at least to where I was staying at the time. And mind y'all, I literally stayed like up the street from my job. Not even 10 minutes away. So I get in the Uber and this man is trying to get on the highway. And I'm like, I said, hey, you know a way? I don't know. He was like, what you mean? I said, why you trying to get on the highway? I stay that way, and where I stay does not require you getting on the highway because I'm literally like a couple streets over. And I said, you're supposed to be taking me home, And he's like, I am. I'm like, okay, so why are you getting on the highway? And this man says to me, when I said I was taking you home, I meant to my house. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. I've not been in an Uber alone since. I've not been in a Lyft alone since. And I'm even skeptical about getting in Uber or Lyft. And, this is not defamation. Like, y'all, Uber or Lyft, don't try to come for me. This is not defamation. This was solely based upon the character of the driver that y'all allowed to drive for y'all at that time. Y'all didn't know that he was a weirdo. So listen, don't come for me. But that's what he said to me, y'all. When I said I was taking you home, I meant to my house. And when I tell y'all, it was like straight out of a Lifetime movie. I grabbed onto the door and I looked at him. I said, okay, now, you see my face. I'm serious. If you do not turn this car around, it is going to be me and you. And we're going to have some problems. We're going to have some problems. It's going to be me or you. And I mean that. So you need to turn this thing around and take me to my house, or it's going to get real ugly up in here. And I was prepared to fight. For sure. I was prepared to fight my way out of that car if I needed to. And so when I said all that, he was like, okay, my bad. And he took me to the house. And he still expected me to pay him. He still expected to get like the full amount for the ride and all this stuff. Like, he just acted like it was normal behavior. Like, I'm getting out the car and he's like, you need anything else? Let me know if you need another ride somewhere else. And I'm like, is it drugs? Are you on drugs? Because there is no way you think that what you just tried to pull was normal or okay. So that kept me with some uncomfortability about being in Uber and doing those rideshare things or whatever. But I say all that to say that there are people in this world, ladies, there are men in this world that do not have your best interest in heart. They are solely looking to reap something from you. They are solely looking to get benefit from you. It does not matter if y'all are in a full-blown relationship, if y'all are friends, if y'all have dated in the past. Don't put nothing past these men. And I'm not saying that in a way to shame men. Like I said, I'm speaking to the women who need to hear it straight like this, because I wish somebody had told me. Don't put it past these men. They need to show you that they respect you. They need to tell you that they respect you. You need to see it. You need to feel it. You need to understand it. But do not put anything past him and end up in a position where you're vulnerable and he's able to take advantage of you. The only way you guys should be in a position where you're vulnerable is if he is too, and y'all have consented to whatever it is that y'all are embarking upon. And at any point you change your mind, you are welcome to do that. You are welcome to do that. And it does not matter how long y'all have known each other, how long y'all been together, what the nature of your relationship is. At any point, if you no longer want to participate in the things that you were once participating in with this person, you don't have to do it. And you can change your mind. And if he's uncomfortable with it, then there you go. You got your answer. You don't have to deal with him. And you don't have to deal in situations where you're naive and you're looking over red flags. And don't allow people to shame you. Don't allow people to blame you and tell you things like, well, you should have knew better. You set yourself up for that. Because those same kind of people are the same kind of people who are not going to be there to console you when you have to deal with the trauma that comes with, being ignorant in situations or being naive. You don't have to listen to them. Talk to somebody, let somebody know like, hey, this is what's going on. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking. And let it be somebody that you really trust, and see what they say. And if you don't feel comfortable, you don't even have to take their advice. But I'm just saying, like, if you absolutely don't know what to do, then find you somebody that you can trust and that you can talk to about it. And let's see, is there anything else I want to say? Oh, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, you don't have to be young. In the cases that I was, you don't have to be young to experience this stuff. Because like I said, there's there's people at our age who still think like, oh, well, she posts certain stuff on social media. She posts herself half naked on social media or whatever the case may be. So she must be looking for the attention that I'm about to give her. You know, like she must be looking to receive, you know, sexual attention, sexual attraction, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's merely an assumption until you ask that woman what she wants and who she wants it from. So, just to leave it at this, just know that your no is your no. Let your no be your no, and be around the people who understand that your no is your no. Do not allow people to take advantage of you. Do not allow people to make you feel bad about having boundaries, and do not feel bad about asking questions when you don't understand, while somebody is trying to put you in a certain position or is expecting certain things from you. Try to gain as much knowledge as you can in this world when it comes to things concerning you. You don't have to live in fear, but live in mindfulness and live in the understanding that everybody does not think like you and everybody does not have your best interest at heart. And so you need to be in a position where you can protect yourself if you ever run across a situation where somebody does not have your best interest at heart, because I assure you, you will come across it. If you haven't already, and even if you have, it won't be the first or last time. So I just wanted to bring awareness to this topic. And next week we'll do something, you know, more lighthearted. But like I said, I want to use my platform and my influence to still bring awareness to things that are important in today's society. Don't just stick with the status quo. You know, people telling you, oh, you should assume this, or you should be okay with certain things, or if you behave in a certain manner, people should expect certain things from you. No, because it is your responsibility to gain the knowledge, and it is their responsibility to be a decent human being and not be a predator and not prey on people. So that's all I got to say tonight. I thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see y'all next week.